So we have a very special final night interview with a guy called Henry, who has just released a super documentary called Boxing Purgatory. So it's a special treat, two live interviews in the one night. So I'm going to get him to come on just to have about the documentary, where you can watch it, because it's really good. Hello!
What up?
How are you?
I'm good, Lydia. Day doll, how are you?
I'm super great. I'm delighted that you could join me.
Thank you for having me.
We were meant to do this Friday night, but I left my phone in a friend's house, so
these things happen.
But obviously wanted you to come on to talk all about Boxing Purgatory. I watched it today. It did not disappoint. It is as good as I expected. Congratulations.
I think it's better than I expected, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm pleased with it. It was a bit of a weird one, because obviously when I started making that documentary, it was before lockdown. So I had a very different, not very different, but a slightly different idea for what it would be. And then filming more or less 50% of it from my flat in lockdown was a bit of a challenge. But yeah, I'm just glad I managed to get it finished. So yeah.
No, it's brilliant, really, really good. So obviously, for anyone that hasn't watched it yet, can I just say it's at nearly 30,000 views and it's out like 2 days.
That's why we collaborate with channels with much bigger followings than our own.
No, it was brilliant. So well done. But
Thanks.
Obviously, for anyone that hasn't watched it yet, it's based around professional boxer Kieran Smith. So what was the decision to choose Kieran to do this documentary on?
So basically, a few months ago, I was just chatting with Kieran, and I can't remember why we were talking. I have no idea why we were talking, but we were chatting for whatever reason. And he basically was back. He mentioned to me that he wasn't training, he's still training full time, but he was also working pretty much full time on for his brother-in-law's company. And they basically just do heavy lifting, construction, moving different heavy units of miscellaneous stuff, long, hard manual labor. Doing that alongside, the strenuous nature of pro fighting is not easy. And I think he was kind of getting to the point where he was just like, I'm boxing and I'm winning, but I'm not getting an opportunity, and I'm not getting the fight that I'm looking for, the big opportunity to take me to the next level in my career. And it just made me really want to help. So I was like, right, Kieran, let's just film something. Let's get you out there. I was like, what can we do? And then I started thinking about it. I was like, well, it might be a good idea to just basically show people the situation he's in, because I don't think a lot of fans are aware of this sort of zone in boxing you can get into very, very easily if you don't sell enough tickets. I mean, Kieran actually does sell tickets in Scotland, but, to get the right shots in his division, he needs to be in England, really, or America or wherever. 154 pounds is his division. So I set about wanting to make something that would just show people what he's actually having to go through at the moment, how hard he's working, and to help people understand it's not always about your talent level. More often than not, it's not about your talent level. It's about your commercial value, and that counts for as much as anything else, probably more than anything else. There's lots of examples of that now in boxing. So started working on that with Kieran, and then at the time I'd started chatting with the guy who runs Motovidia. I won't say his name because I think he likes to keep his anonymity, but he's a really, really good guy. A really, really top bloke. And I explained to him this project I was working on. I said, how could we put this on your platform? Because I'd like to see if it can make a difference for Kieran. I'd like it to go on a bigger platform and sort of see what it could do. And then he was like, well, to get it on, we need some bigger names involved, really, because otherwise people just won't watch it. And I was like, well, that's a great idea. So I started working on it. And I think before lockdown, I had Carl agreed to be involved. I had Dave agreed to be involved, which didn't happen in the end. But anyway, I had Dave.
I obviously just had him on for the live, and I was like, can we quickly talk about Boxing Purgatory? And he started laughing. And I was like, what are you laughing about? And then he was like, because I actually recorded a bit, and I remembered speaking to you, and you've been like, oh, I just had Dave on the phone. We've done this. This, but it wasn't to be technical difficulties.
We'll call them technical difficulties. Well, it was technical the first time. The second time it was something else. But anyway, and I was hoping to get a few other people. But anyway, I had a few names, and then with it being locked down, I managed to get some much bigger names involved in the end. Well, you can't really get much bigger than Carl and Dave, but more people on the same sort of level, or different profiles as well. You know, just managed to get Joshua Buatsi, who I've never even spoken to before, so that was great. Thank you very much to the people at Soapbox for that. Yeah, and Eddie Hearn, of course, was a massive one to get, because I mean, he really offered that business perspective, and he kind of provided some answers, I guess, because he's the kingmaker at the end of the day. He's the one who can give you your opportunity. So you needed that voice, which is, you know, of the guy who can give you your opportunity. So yeah, it came together nicely in the end. But it was actually, I'd stopped doing any work on it a couple of months into lockdown. I'd done nothing, and I was just like, well, I don't know what's going to happen with this project, because when boxing comes back, who knows if Kieran's situation will be the same or relevant anymore or anything. And then I realized that actually, you know, I could make lockdown a feature. And I was actually watching, have you seen Icarus before, that documentary about the doping, the Russian state-sponsored doping?
I know, but I haven't watched it.
Phenomenal. Got to watch it. But in that, I'd seen it before, and I remembered that in that he used Skype calls for quite a lot of it, and I thought, let me just see how he did it. And I went back and watched it, and I was like, that actually looks really good. I don't mind that it's on a video call because of the way he'd done it. So, you know, filming himself in HD and then cutting the calls against himself in HD, it kind of makes it feel more like, all right, I'm watching this guy in his apartment doing an interview. I'm not just watching crappy Zoom calls or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that was the idea. That was what made me feel comfortable about doing it all on Zoom. And yeah, but yeah. So essentially, ended up with this documentary where Kieran's the guy that is the example of what we're talking about, but it could be anybody. It could be any boxer in that situation, and there's loads of them that are in that situation. So that's what it was about. It's about the sort of who needs them club and that time in their life, when in a fighter's life, when they just haven't got the commercial pulling power to get the move to the next level. So yeah, that's what we've ended up with.
Brilliant. It's so good. And you I know, like, obviously the coronavirus was a massive part of like having to adapt to doing like the Skype interviews and the Zoom interviews and stuff like that. But if I didn't know, if you hadn't have already told me that, I wouldn't have known. Do you know what I mean?
That's good.
It's a really good documentary. But you represented Kieran really well. He came across like very likable.
He is likable, you know. He's not a massive loudmouth or anything like that. Like he said in it, I'm just a normal guy. And it's like, unfortunately there's not much place in boxing for normal guys. When it comes to pushing a ticket and stuff like that, which is, I like normal people, so, you know, why not let people, you know, the guys like that don't get proper media coverage a lot of the time, which is part of the problem. So yeah, it is part of the problem, which is the beauty of, I suppose, being independent, so that you have the freedom to cover who you want and to hear that. That's part of the reason why I love like Fight Connect TV, is that if I come across somebody whose stuff that I like yourself, your work, or someone that I feel is a really good fighter or contributes a lot to their sport but doesn't get the right media attention, or a lot of media attention, and you can choose to, you know, show what you believe to be good about them or what they're doing. So it's really good. Absolutely. Really, really good. I hope it takes off. I hope you get like millions of views. Well, that'd be nice. I don't think it will, judging by the pace it's moving at. I don't think it will, but I'm going to release it on my channel on Tuesday as well, just, you know, just to have it there, just so I can say like, this is mine. But yeah, I don't know how many views it will get. Maybe over time it might do some good numbers. I think because most of Lydia's audience is actually predominantly American, so I think it'd be. Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant Kieran. No, no. Motividia's audience is predominantly American, so I think if it does get picked up by like the IFL TV fans and boxing social fans and stuff like that, then I think it will pick up some more views, because obviously it's very, very British. Everyone in there's like a big name in British boxing, but not well. Eddie's big globally. To be fair, Carl's pretty big as well, but. Most of them are just. It's an important. The undertone of it is very important as well. In that, you know, it's not something that affects boxing. It affects, I think, all combat sports, and I think that a lot of fighters have the same. I don't want to say complaint, but it's the same block that's in a lot of their ways. Yeah. Having the right promoter, having the right media. Sorry, my battery just went there. I'm gonna plug it in. Yeah, what was that? Having the right media. Having the right media, what would I say? Sorry, how unprofessional my battery. Think he's flashing. Your battery's going to go. But having the right media approach and the right approach to social media. You know, there are people who have it like completely
just perfect. And then other guys are
Yeah.
like, I'm so busy being a fighter, like I can't be arsed to, you know, focus on social media, or I don't really know what to do. Some people don't have good management, you know, so there's a whole host of things that can go against you. Being a good fighter is only, unfortunately, a tiny percentage.
It's true. It's true. And it's really unfortunate because, you know, as fans of the sport, you just want to see good boxers fighting each other. I mean, you think about other sports like football, like how many interviews do you see like Leo Messi doing? Like he's probably a pretty boring guy, to be honest, but he's the best player. But he's the best player in the world. He doesn't need to do it. It's like, it's the same thing in boxing. You just want to see the best boxers.
You know, I was really impressed with Ade's. Is it Ade?
Ade.
Sorry, Ade.
Ade Oladipo.
Do you know what? I was actually I had to voice note Lerone Richards the other night. I was like, can I just ask, is it Lerone or is it Lerone? Because I keep saying Lerone and it's just like, it's actually Lerone. And now every time I say his name, I'm like, is it Lerone or Lerone? So I have to say Lerone. But sorry, Ade? Ade.
Yeah.
I've never met him, so that's my excuse.
His channel's really good. We did an interview earlier today. Me, him, Rob, and Kieran did an interview today on his channel.
No way.
Yeah, we did a Zoom interview.
He was so good, and his thing that he said about having the table or having the like top 20 fighters, that makes so much sense. So
of course.
Number 20 fights number 19, then the winner of that fights number 18, and so on.
Yeah.
So
you have it in the UFC. You have it in the UFC a bit more, but the only way I see it working in boxing, like I think the only way a governing body ever comes in is if you have some kind of like system like the franchise system in America. So like Matchroom Boxing would become a franchise, Top Rank Boxing would become a franchise, and then say you get like, you're allowed to have say 6 fighters in each weight class, and then you can do X number of in-house shows a year, and you have to do a mandatory number of shows with other franchises per year, something like that. You couldn't just eradicate the promoters because it just wouldn't work. You'd have to have some kind of system where it was all put together, but could also remain the same in some ways. So it's very difficult, isn't it? It's very difficult. I don't think it's ever going to change.
I don't think it'll ever change either, and it's food for thought. If anything, that, you know, it's something to get to have a discussion about. Whether it will happen or not is incorrect.
Well, I think the most important thing about doing the documentary was just to help a lot of fans understand what these guys actually go through, because you see a lot of disrespectful stuff about fighters. You see a lot of people who don't really understand, like, oh, this guy's ducking this guy's a bum, I've never heard of this guy, he must be crap, you know, all that stuff, and it's just not the case. It's just not the case. I mean, maybe they are crap, but we don't even know. That's the point. You know, that's kind of the point of the documentary. Is what I'm trying to say is I mean, I think Kieran's talented because I've seen him in the gym enough. I've seen him fight. I don't know how good he is, though, and that's kind of the point of the documentary. I'm not making the documentary to say this is Kieran Smith, he's world class, he should be getting a shot because he's world class, he can't get a shot. All I'm saying is let's give him a chance, let's find out how good he is, because he's 16-0 and he's got a title, and he's actually also been ordered to fight Fowler in a final eliminator for the British title, as you see at the end. But I don't think that's going to happen, though. So.
But what am I right in thinking that was said that it was mandatory for before July 2020? Or was it 21?
I think it was 2020, but
they obviously can extend it with.
But it's not even really a mandatory, though. It's just like, if you want to fight for the British title first, you've got to fight this guy.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. So they could just not fight for the British title. You see what I mean? Or I don't know what will happen with that. Possibly nothing. But at least if he's in the British Boxing Board of Control's mind, then hopefully at some point, like, you know, if they keep ordering that, then hopefully at some point he'll get to fight somebody for the British title. That'd be great. I think he did try and get a shot at the Commonwealth, but that didn't come off. But yeah, that's the kind of level he should be getting tested at now. But
it's interesting because another point that Frampton made in the documentary Boxing Purgatory, for anyone that's watching, is that, you know, when you asked him about what can somebody who is in Kieran's position, like, what can you do to help progress your career, and he was like, it's just about, you know, he said a whole host of different things, but what struck out to me was saying that you just have to be ready, whether that is jumping in on a short notice fight or knocking out a prospect. And it's kind of one of those things, like, you work hard, you work your ass off to get to a certain point, and then the hard work starts. You know, it was kind of that sort of like undertone from it.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of luck. The problem with Kieran is that like we said in the documentary, he's 6'2", 154 pounder, and he's not skinny. Like, he's a big guy. So I don't know if he even could take a 2-week notice fight. I don't think it's possible. I don't think he can make weight safely in 2 weeks. So maybe he'd have to look at being a heavier weight if that was the case. I don't know, but yeah, there's so many different factors that go into it. We looked at the social media. Obviously, we looked at the factor of how you kind of move out of that space he's in, and there's so many other things that go into it we didn't even touch on. I mean, I wanted to touch on KSI Logan Paul because I feel like that's like the ultimate of what we're talking about, where you look at the economics and the financials and all that stuff, and social media presence and all that sort of thing, and like those guys have no boxing ability, and yet they headlined a boxing bill. It's like the absolute extreme of what we're talking about in the documentary. But I didn't want to go there because I figure that's probably a documentary in itself. So I kind of left that one alone for now. I would like to make something about that though. I'd love to do something about the business behind that fight. That'd be pretty cool.
So
probably get a few views as well.
So does that mean that, yeah, definitely, well, if you have those two involved, absolutely. But does this mean now that we're going to see a lot more documentaries involved?
Yeah, I think that's like the main thing I want to do. Obviously, I've done three actually. I've done three. I did 2 Tyrones in the Golden Contract. I did Coach Allen,
love that as well.
I didn't even know that was going to be a documentary, to be honest with you, but it's just how it worked out. And then this one, Boxing's Purgatory. So, yeah, don't know what the next one's going to be yet, but I'm sure it'll be.
Is it What's in My Bag? Is that the one?
What's that?
What's the other one that you did? The one you don't.
No, the interviews. Three rounds of gifts.
3 rounds of gifts.
What's in my bag? Now I know what you were thinking the whole time you were watching it, but that's definitely never been mentioned before.
What's in your bag? Right, yeah. That's a new one for you. But the 3 rounds of gifts, that's my ultimate favourite.
Thank you. Do you know what? Like, they're more work than the bloody documentaries. You wouldn't believe, but they're not more work, but they're just slower. They're so slow because of the amount of bloody research I have to do, and it's just. Yeah. I'm completely. It's not research that's the issue. It's the fact I'm completely reliant on other people coming to me and giving me stories, or me finding them saying, when can we talk? And then I get put off for like 2, 3, 4 months. Yeah. There's guys I promised them to. I mean, I got a running joke with Sonny Edwards because I promised him one like a year ago and it still hasn't happened. So
no way. Well, please do, because it would be absolutely right there.
Yeah, it's ready. It's ready. I've got one of his gifts right there.
No way.
Yeah, it's just been sat there because I've been waiting to do it. But yeah, so at some point that will happen, I guess. But I do like those. But the reality of it is that they don't get that many views because I still think one of the issues with my content, I've said this to you before, is that it's just not that clickable. And like once people know what it is, they enjoy it and they come back. But it's a lot of work to get people to watch. It really is. So yeah, I don't know.
That episode with Martin Murray was captivating. When he starts speaking about Oliver and he got all emotional, like my heart was broken watching that. Like that's what you obviously don't want to see people upset, but that's what you makes a riveting watch.
Well, Martin had a bit of everything because he's had an absolutely mental life. He's been at the very top of the sport. He's a funny guy. He's an emotional guy. It was a bit of a roller coaster, to be honest. I need to get better actually at knowing how to react when people get emotional and sad, because it's happened a couple of times to me now, and I feel like I freeze a little bit sometimes. I'm like, God, I don't know what to say, because I want to.
Speaking of Sonny Edwards, when I had Sonny on, Sonny was talking about his mum, and I started crying in the middle of a live Instagram.
You did.
Dave last week was talking about his gambling addiction. I started bawling, crying in that as well. So I'd rather freeze than cry on live TV.
Yeah, I don't freeze. It's just I think sometimes I maybe say things that sound a bit inconsiderate, but it's more because I want to make them feel better. I feel so bad for them feeling sad, so I want to try and say something to like lift their spirits in that moment, or kind of like make them not feel bad about getting upset or whatever. But yeah, sometimes you just got to say fuck all and just be quiet. You know what I mean? that's the best thing to do. Sometimes is just be quiet and let them have their moment. But yeah, no, I love doing those interviews. I really do. But it's just such a lengthy process. That's all it is. The Carl one was good as well, but I guess what was the first one I did with 2 cameras? Yeah, the first one I did with 2 cameras was Jack Bateson, And I think having the second camera made a big difference. So it's mad because like that was only a year ago that I got the second camera involved, and it feels like about 5 years ago. So yeah.
Brilliant. Well, it was well worth it. But listen, for everyone that wants to watch the Boxing Purgatory documentary tonight, which I recommend, where can they get it? What channel is it again on YouTube?
Go to Motivedia. It's spelled Motivedia. Motivedia, like motivational media, but Motivedia. And they do lots of cool edits. You probably watched them before without realizing what channel it was. But it's a really good channel. It's actually one of the biggest boxing YouTube channels, but people never really seem to refer to it. It's got like 700,000 subscribers, so it's massive. Yeah, and it's a really good channel. It's the first time he's done an original documentary on the channel. It's the first time he's done something longer than 15 minutes. It's an hour long. So yeah, that's where you can watch it. It'll also be on my channel from Tuesday. And I'm sure you can find a link for it somewhere on my page if you look hard enough.
I'm going to link them all to it. I'm going to put it on our story. And then
brilliant, thank you.
Feed as well. So we'll make sure that everyone gets to watch it. But
excellent. All I ask people do, thank you. All I ask people do is after you've watched it, if you like it, go and follow some of the people involved, especially Kieran, because I guess like the point of it is to show people what it's like, but also, you know, if in doing so, Kieran got a fight somehow, that would be the dream. That would be absolutely unreal for me. Like that's what I want. I want to, you know, if someone said to me, you're not going to get a penny out of it, but I mean, I'm not getting a penny out of it, but someone said to you, you know, you can lose money doing it, but Kieran gets a fight. That's what I want. That's the main goal.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations again. It really is so good.
Thank you.
And you know what? It's because I know how much hard work goes into putting something together like this. I'm even more proud of you for doing this. So
thank you.
Done.
Well, I'm a freak when I do it as well. I'm a freak when I do it. Yeah. No, I get weird when I do it as well because when I studied, I was always a crammer, so I just crammed for like 24 hours before I did my test. But the problem with this is I've got the same mindset, but it lasts about a month. So every day for a month, I'm so intense, and at the end of it, I'm just a mess. So I'm glad it's over, to be honest with you.
Well, listen, it was well worth it. You've done a really great job.
We need to do our thing soon or something soon. So that'll be good.
Well, Dave just brought it up because we spoke about it on the live.
Oh, have you told him about it?
No. He says, no, that's a lie. I did tell him about it, but I told him not on the internet, on a phone call last week.
Oh, okay.
But
what did he say?
Oh, no, did I? No, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't. I was talking to you about it on the phone.
Yeah.
But I didn't. But he said, he was like, I can't wait for you guys to do something in the future. And I said, oh, well, there is a little plan in place for what we're going to do. He was like, oh, no.
Theoretical.
So I just said it was potentially you, me, and him in another country for a particular event.
Yes. Well,
and that was it.
Yeah, there's more.
I got a bit nervous at that. I don't know.
We're not going to sacrifice them or anything like that. Like, what's he thinking? I think it would need Danny and Liam as well. To be honest with you, I think we need the full squad.
The full band would need to be.
Yeah, you need the full team, and it preferably it would be say if Danny Morel or Dave got a match from Italy slot, something like that would be.
Well, there's an exclusive. I didn't let them know that, but there you go.
Well, we don't even know if it's going to happen, but if it did happen, can you imagine like if Dave was fighting on a match from Italy card or something? That'd be so funny, man.
Danny and Dave were fighting on a match.
That'd be unreal. And then I just think it'd be the funniest thing ever to see Danny, Liam, and Dave cutting loose in Italy. I just think it'd be unreal to watch. So, you know. Trying to communicate with the locals and that.
That's when we spoke about it on the phone, that was the one thing that I was like thinking about. I was like, can you imagine them all in like shops trying to ask for things? Like, you know, for some reason I just have this idea of them in an ice cream shop trying to ask for ice cream in Italian. I don't know why I think that. I don't even think.
Dave's the kind of guy though where like you'd be there and he'd suddenly start speaking fluent Italian. Like he's that kind of bloke. Do you know what I mean? He's that kind of bloke.
He's freakishly intelligent, as you know.
He's much cleverer than people realise.
He is freakishly so. Also, if anyone is going on your YouTube channel, make sure that they check out Coach Allen, because that's also an incredible documentary that you've done. Brilliant.
I'd say the main thing, actually someone said this about me before, but I'd say about Dave as well. I think he's a very underestimated individual. That's what I'd say about Dave.
Yeah.
In many aspects.
Yeah, I tell you what, when his book comes out, I'm gonna be first in line to buy it.
I should try and get the deal to write that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, 100% needs to come out.
I'll make the film about his life. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, brilliant. Can I have a walk-on part? I have a little like floating part in the background.
I think we can make something happen. I think what we'll do is we'll get some product placement involved. We'll get some backing from like a big brand, and your thing can be to like get the product placement in there. So you could like walk on shot and go, God, I just love Coca-Cola so much, and then drink it and then walk off. I think something like that would be perfect, because you could make it very natural. I think it would be good.
Yeah, sign me up. That's my. I'm gonna have a contract over on your desk.
You don't get any of the Coca-Cola money though. We just give you like a normal normal fee.
Well, listen, I look forward to it, and congratulations again on the documentary. It's brilliant.
Thank you very much. Yeah, nice chatting. And I will speak to you soon.
Yeah, we'll talk each other soon.
Take care.
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.